89.3 and 88.5 Yes FM. Online at www.yeshome.com. Now on the free Yes FM iTunes app and the Yes FM Android app, or the free TuneIn Radio app. Search Yes FM Lima.
It's always fun when we get to talk to bands. We've got some new music coming, and no exception is Remedy Drive. On the phone line, we have David, the lead singer. Hi, David.
Hey, it's good to be in your part of the country over the phone lines today.
Now, what's your part of the country, just out of curiosity? Is it still Nebraska?
I moved to Nashville 3.5 years ago.
Okay, so Nashville now.
But I do like driving on, is it I-90 that goes through, just south of Michigan up in Ohio?
Yeah, the turnpike, like 80-90?
I guess I don't like it because we have to pay so much to have 4 axles on it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, if you like driving, it's a good road to drive on. But if you don't like paying to drive, then yeah, you might want to take an alternate route.
But it's pretty. I like it. You know, everybody says that part of the country is boring. I think it's pretty. I think the lake is pretty, and I like that region.
Yeah. So, have you gotten a chance to hit like Lake Erie or Lake Michigan?
In terms of like swimming,
hanging out, just whatever, or do you just get to see it in passing through?
Lake Michigan is generally when I'm in Chicago with my wife's family. We'll go down to the beach.
Very good. Well, you guys have got some stuff cooking up in the works, and the big splash all over social media we've been seeing, little teases, Commodity. So what information can you tell us about Commodity at this point?
Commodity is a song. It's also an album, and it's coming out in the fall. And if everything goes right, within the next couple hours, we're going to launch our pre-order Kickstarter campaign for it.
Excellent. So if people can get ready, we'll be talking to you, and then they can go over to Kickstarter and get you kickstarted.
Yeah, and if something doesn't go right, they can go tomorrow morning.
Always little glitches here and there, but once they get it going up and running, it's great. And we've seen major success with a bunch of your band friends out there. So looking forward to what you guys are going to be bringing to the table. But we've been seeing a bunch of stuff, like I said, on social media, and not just the name of an album and a song, but it looks like kind of just something that really has been an idea that's really grabbed hold of you personally, and maybe even a lifestyle for you. Can you kind of delve into that and your thoughts about Commodity and what it means to you?
So I think we've all felt oppressed in some way or another. We've all felt in the system of power, a power over system that would make us less than or would diminish us. And at the beginning, the lyric for me was a response to feeling that way, a response to feeling like I'm supposed to sing a certain way or say things a certain way, or industries and big businesses and the Wall Street crash, all that's going on. But then in the middle of it, I'm watching the Kony 2012 video with my daughter. And in that I see these boys that are stolen from their homes. They're oppressed and they're forced to fight wars. They're on the front lines. And my daughter says, "Dad, why not God protect those boys?" And in that moment, that's, I think, where this record was born. And this idea was born that I think we need to sound as loud as we can. We need to make noise about this oppression, these forces that would take sons and daughters and would use them in the worst ways and traffic them. And so it's a counter-trafficking concept record.
And speaking of trafficking, we see that you guys have teamed up with the Exodus Road. Is that kind of what spurred that on to get involved with them, or what was it that got you involved with them? And tell us about the Exodus Road. What exactly are they doing out there to combat things like trafficking and other things that would just keep these kids in bondage?
Well, I had finished writing 7 or 8 songs, all of them dealing with freedom, because I want it to be a celebration of freedom too. As dark as the content is, I do believe the King is still on the throne, and the evidence of it is in groups like the Exodus Road, these heroes that they go into the red light districts where humans are being sold, and they take surveillance equipment, and it's really spy work is what it is. It's espionage, and they find evidence of trafficked underage victims, and then they once they identify a target, they get the funds together and they make a raid, and they rescue the boys, they rescue the girls, and then they take and bring to justice some of the people in the organizations that are doing the trafficking. And they just reached out to me out of the blue in June of last summer, I think, or July or August, and they said, we're looking for somebody to talk about the Exodus Road. And I couldn't believe it because I had just written this whole album on it. And I went over in February for the first time, and I just talked to Matt from the Exodus Road today about my trip in June, and I kind of get to be an honorary member of their team of operatives from time to time.
That is fantastic. It's a subject that's very personal to our hearts here in Toledo. You were talking about the Turnpike. That unfortunately is one of the Turnpike is pretty. It's going through, but there's also the dark side of it. Kind of well known as far as where some of these kids are getting picked up in our area. And thankfully, we have a local organization called the Daughter Project that is helping to combat that too. So it's phenomenal. Unfortunately, what's going on, but at the same time, there's so much hope out there with local organizations, and then the Exodus Road, and just a lot of you bands out there, a lot of your buddies out there too in the trenches with you, just working to combat that and bring all of this to light, because there's just some stuff that people aren't aware of, like it's the Super Bowl, huge for trafficking, and it just within the last couple of years it's been brought to light.
Yeah. And bringing it to light is just the start. Me and my 2 daughters and my son and my wife, we all put a red X on our hand.
Yeah.
On that day. But I hope that that's not all I'm doing. And my daughter is going to look me in the eyes in her 20s, 20 years from now, and she's going to say, "Hey, Dad, you were alive, and you were in the prime of your health, in your youth, when this was going on. What did you do about it?" And when she said, she's 6 years old now, when I heard I was in Southeast Asia, and I had just gotten back from this really rough night of surveillance work and going undercover, and the things you see and the things you experience are the worst. And my wife said to me, "Hey, I overheard Ava saying to her friend, my dad's in Thailand. He's rescuing girls that are slaves." And it was the best thing in the world. I mean, the best thing in the world. And I hope I can reproduce it in my son and reproduce that call, like Martin Luther King Jr. said, for a dangerous unselfishness. And that's what I believe Christianity should be.
Once again, we're talking to David, lead singer of Remedy Drive Commodity. Not only the song, but the album Kickstarter campaign getting underway here in a few hours. And you guys are expecting, if things go well, then for the album to come out then this fall, correct?
Yeah, it's going to come out in August or September. But anybody who contributes to the Kickstarter will get the title track that you guys are playing right away.
Yeah.
And then another song on my birthday on June 6th, which is D-Day, and then another song on Independence Day leading up to the release of the record.
Excellent. Very good. Yeah. Can you tell us about some of these other songs that are going to be released? I mean, can you give a sneaky peeky, or is that kind of still under wraps or still in the works right now?
No, so commodity, it starts out with that I don't need a Band-Aid for my bullet hole line. And that the conflict in Uganda, especially and in different countries in Africa, and reading a lot about that, reading about boy soldiers, that's where the whole thing started. But then to use this idea of trafficking as a metaphor for my own soul, and how there's these forces of darkness that would want to take ownership of us. So there's one in particular called Under the Starlight, where I say I feel so small under the starlight, kind of like David in the Psalm says. When you're faced against an issue of this magnitude, there's a tendency to be overwhelmed and feel helpless. And so I expressed that a few times, and then I put myself in the shoes of someone rescuing somebody. I said, "Come and take cover by my side." And that's a really sweet song that I'm excited for people to hear, which also can be heard from the perspective of the King of the Universe to us, saying, "Hey, I'll be your shield when there's fire on the battlefield."
And you guys have the opportunity to spread this not only to us here in the States. It looks like you're hitting some tours and festivals this summer, but so also that you've got an opportunity to go over to Europe in November.
Yeah. Never been to Norway. Never been to Finland. Finland's a little close to President Putin for my liking. But
well, maybe you go over there and stir some things up.
Well, I just hope that he stays over to the east. But then, and Canada, of course.
So you're looking forward to being able to go overseas. Have you guys performed overseas before, haven't you?
Germany,
okay.
2 years in a row. That was amazing. And then the Netherlands. You don't really plan for the fact that people are going to sing your song, but they're going to sing it with an accent. And to hear a whole crowd in the Netherlands sing "Daylight Is Coming" was so cool.
That's why we really need to hear it with a Dutch accent. That's cool.
Yeah. Or to be sitting in on this interview with the translator, and you'll hear the guy just going, it sounds like German, Remedy Drive, German. It's startling. There's no way to prepare for it. It's such a cool thing to realize that your songs are being heard and sung and performed in different countries. It's the best. I love it.
Once again, we're talking to David, Remedy Drive, and you guys will probably be able to see them somewhere within the country this summer, some of the music festivals, or if you want to go to Finland or somewhere over in Europe, you get to see them. And Kickstarter campaign coming up with Commodity. So if people wanted to, once again, help you guys out with the Kickstarter campaign or just find out more about you guys online, where are some of the websites, social media contacts they can go to?
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you go to remedydrive.com, and I should say too, if you text Remedy to 51555, you can find out a ton more about our partnership with the Exodus Road, and you can get involved. You can do a spaghetti dinner. You can raise money to fund a raid. You can do a car wash, or you can do what I'm doing, and that is get trained and go spend 2 weeks of your vacation time in Southeast Asia as a spy. Normal people can do it.
That's amazing. That people can go out and actually get involved and do that, because you hear about it, but to actually physically get involved, I imagine it's just, like you said, it's just something that you could never really wrap your head around. So, but thanks for bringing that to light and sharing that with us and just everything on Commodity. You touched a little bit as far as what the album is about, and you're right. We have just picked up the song Commodity, just started playing it. Can you kind of delve into that a little bit more? Is there anything else you want to add before we let you go on the song Commodity itself?
So that first line, it came from an article I read about our tendency as Westerners and to get involved in big issues. It's almost as if we're just putting Band-Aids on bullet holes. And we all feel that sense of being taken advantage of or diminished, and I'm not for sale, You can't reduce the melodies of my heart and my soul and then shrink wrap them, and I'm a soul inside a body. That's the thing I need to remember. I can't sing about freedom. I can't bring freedom and at the same time not be chasing after it with all my heart. I want to be free. I want my soul to be free. I don't want to be enslaved to the sin that so easily besets me, nor this system of evil that would seek to control me. So that song is a response to all of that at the same time, just a reminder and a prayer at the same time. Untie me, I've got to be let go.
David, thanks so much for sharing with us, and we wish you guys well on your Kickstarter campaign. Looking forward to seeing what God is going to be doing to use not only your music, but you and your kids, your wife, everybody getting involved with cool things like the Exodus Road. Appreciate you taking the time to tell us all about it.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
Yes, FM.